Those are brown, aren't they?
What do you call that color?
A collar.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Saturday here on the Beatles Submarine with me, Danielle. And for this week's video, I'm going to be doing something plain and simple because I couldn't think of anything creative to do this week. And I would do it if the Beatles part 2, but I kind of just posted that. So that's going to be done in a couple weeks. But for today's video, I'm keeping it simple, and I'm going to be doing the Beatlemaniac tag so you guys can get to know me as a Beatle fan. So let's get right to it. First question is, when/how did you first hear of the Beatles? And I can't remember my life without the Beatles, honestly. My parents didn't raise me on their music or anything like that. They're just one of those bands that you kind of just grow up knowing throughout your entire life. So yeah, I kind of just knew them all my life, you know? Next question is, when/how did you start getting into the Beatles? And it was actually this year. Yeah, this year, you guys. I am very late to the Beatles fan train, but hey, better late than never, I guess. I don't know, just this year I really wanted to expand my horizons when it came to music, and I'm like, you know what, I think I should do it with the Beatles, because I've pushed them aside so much over the years, and I don't know why. So one day I just decided to start listening to their music, getting into their discography, just started to appreciate all the members, and just like that, I'm like now an obsessed fan. Like, I have never delved into an artist or band as quickly as I have with the Beatles, not even Michael Jackson, and he's like my favorite person ever. So, you know, I became a fan of them so quickly. I have never finished an artist's discography as quickly as I have with the Beatles, so yeah, that's how I became a fan. Next question, favorite Beatle? I think y'all know. Ringo! I love Ringo because he reminds me a lot of myself. Like, he's kind of just a small bean, and he's just nice to everybody. He's always spreading peace and love. Like, Ringo and I are just like high-key the same person. Do you play an instrument yourself? If so, what instrument? I used to play viola back in elementary school, but I sing, and your voice can sometimes be an instrument, I guess, so does singing count? Favorite Beatles song at the moment? At the moment, it's probably Dig a Pony or Strawberry Fields Forever. Those two songs lately I've just been so obsessed with. Like, they leave me shooketh to the core. I'm just gonna leave it there. Favorite Beatles album at the moment? Well, in my last video, which was my ranking Beatles albums video, I said Sgt. Pepper is my all-time favorite. But lately, I've been listening to Abbey Road a lot. So yeah, Abbey Road is honestly so phenomenal. I love it so much. Like, I love all their albums, but you know, Abbey Road has just been an album I've been bumping lately because it's just so good. Do you remember the first Beatles song you ever heard? Yes, I do, actually. It was actually Come Together, and it's because Michael Jackson covered the song. So that's how I discovered it. I listened to the original version. I'm like, wow, I kind of like this song. So yeah, Come Together is the first Beatles song I've ever heard. How much Beatles merchandise do you own? Well, as I said, I became a fan just this year, so this is the only merch I have as of now, but I plan to stock up on lots of merch because, you know, I just graduated and people are going to give me money for graduation, more than likely, so you can bet I'm going to be getting so much Beatles merch, like, this is what I spend my money on. I'm terrible. How many Beatles albums do you own? Well, I own 4 studio albums, which are Revolver, Sgt. Pepper, The White Album, and Abbey Road, and then I have some 45s. I have a Ringo 45 and a couple of Beatles 45s, so yeah, definitely am planning to get more, and all their studio albums, obviously. Are you a mod rocker or a mocker? Most people who do the Beatlemaniac tag answer this question so seriously, but I'm just gonna go on a limb and say it. I'm a mocker, darling. Forever and always a mocker. How's your Liverpool accent? It's okay, I guess. You know, it's getting there. It's not perfect, you know, but I'm trying. I am so sorry to anyone who is from Liverpool besides the Beatles. Who's the most underestimated Beatle? I would have to say George and Ringo. Like, I can't choose between the two of them, but George Harrison has great solo music, and I feel like when it comes to guitar players, he's not talked about enough, and I feel like Ringo isn't talked about enough lately. Like, I went on all the individual Beatles Spotify accounts, and Ringo's has not many monthly listeners, and I'm just like, why? Like, his solo music is so good. So, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to, like, choose which one actually is more underestimated, because I feel like they're both equally underestimated for different reasons. So, yeah, I would have to say George and Ringo. Do you think the Beatles cartoon should be brought back to ABC on Saturday mornings? Yeah, why not? 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. That was one of the questions, by the way. I'm not just singing that out of nowhere. So yeah, 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. Can you name every Beatle and their birth dates right off the top of your head? Well, I can obviously name all the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. Easy. Ringo's birthday is July 7th, 1940. Paul is June... It just passed. I hate myself. June 18th, 1942. I think John was 42. I'm terrible. I'm not good with birthdays in general, so this is kind of difficult for me. Don't put me under this pressure. At least I know all their names, okay? What is the best thing about the Beatles? Well, I could write a whole novel on all of the great things about the Beatles, but when it comes to their music, I'm gonna put this out there. I have never seen so much progression from an artist like I have with the Beatles. Like, their music started out like really poppy sounding, and then they slowly moved into like some psychedelic type stuff, and then they just transitioned into full on like rock star type sounds, and they sounded like professional artists by the end of their career. And it's just such a beautiful transition to see with them, and I just really appreciate that about them so much. And them as people, they're witty, hilarious, and they're super cute. So, you know. What would you do if you were a teenager in 1964 and got to meet the Beatles? Oh my god. I would probably cry if I found out I was going to meet them. When I'd be meeting them, I would probably be like super excited inside, but I would just like keep my composure, because I have met famous people before, and when I meet them, I just get really excited. I'm like, hi, hello, but like, you know, so that's how I would be with the Beatles. I would just walk up to them, just greet them all and be like, hi guys, nice to meet you, and you know, just try and talk to them for a little bit. Maybe try and flirt with Ringo, get his number. That would never happen, but you know, probably take a picture with them, get autographs, you know, stuff like that. And you know, if only there were cell phones in 1964, girl, I would be taking so many selfies with Ringo and Paul. It's not even funny, because you know, I'm sure Paul would be all about them selfies, you know what I'm saying? Have you seen every Beatles movie? Not yet. I still need to watch Let It Be, Magical Mystery Tour, and Across the Universe is not a Beatles movie, but I heard it's really good, so I want to watch it. I have seen Yellow Submarine. It's okay, I guess. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but Yellow Submarine is okay in my opinion. Love Help and A Hard Day's Night is my absolute favorite Beatles movie. Do you have any friends who are Beatlemaniacs? Many internet friends, for sure. But in person, not really. I mean, my friends, they appreciate the Beatles and everything that they did, but they're not like in love with them like I am, you know? What modern bands do you like? Well, I'm not into many bands of today's generation, but many solo artists I like. I like Little Mix a little bit. I know that's like a girl group, but I'm just gonna count them in. Frank Ocean, Bruno Mars, Kendrick Lamar. I can name so many more, honestly. Like, Beyonce, I really like her. Ariana Grande, I'm really getting into her lately. Yeah, just to name a few, I guess. Who is the greatest band of all time? Who do you think? What is this video about? The Beatles! The Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles! And the final question, who was the walrus? It was Paul. Who else would it be? So that is my video for this Saturday. Sorry that it was kind of simple and boring, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next Saturday here on the Beatles Submarine. Bye!